founder and managing partner at MRS Business Professional Consulting, whose esteemed organization is our powered by sponsor and also our cocktail sponsor for putting up this magnificent global legal and IP conference. So I would like to thank you, ma'am, for such a collaboration, and let's have a huge round of applause to welcome Miss Monica, ma'am.
Thank you, and good morning or good afternoon, everyone, and people from the media also that you join with online also. Not even that you are in your country right now that listen to us, that here that we will catch up with the spectacular session for the tax case, the real life of your business transaction, the real life that you are facing the government in your country that you are connect with. So once before we talk about tax, I want to introduce me that I am as a tax attorney and also that a tax lawyer. So we have a different perspective for the tax attorney and tax lawyer. Tax attorney that we will go and fight in the tax court and tax Supreme Court also. But in tax lawyer, that just for the consultation about that what's the tax case issue that we will handle successfully as your stressful and painful tax matter. A lot of the people that come to me and all of the clients that come from the multinational company that want to share about the tax case that make them very, very concerned about the every detail for the transaction. That's why we must very detail about the transaction to success for every tax matter and issue once you go and continue to the tax court and the tax Supreme Court. So here we are for the tax legal effort in Indonesia. As a founder and managing partner from MRS Business Professional Consulting, our client from the American and Europe, also that from Asia, especially from Indonesia, but most of the client that for the multinational company. And that's for the business also, for the corporate, and also for international NGO that we must report to them, and then they must report to the headquarters in Washington, D.C. So our base in Indonesia first, and then our representative office in Washington, D.C., because that we must report to them in the Washington, D.C. headquarters. So here we go, with just a quick, okay? In Indonesia tax legal effort that we have a law regulation tax legal effort and a case study that we will case in very short time. So this is the law that we will put it in the tax podcast that we will share after this one, and the case study in the magazine also, because that we are very short session that for 15 minutes only. And then that for the legal effort, this is that we have the process that from the tax audit and then tax objection and then continue to the tax court if you're not satisfied with the result by your tax attorney, and then we continue at the Supreme Court as the tax judicial review. That's the final of your life. The final life of your life that when you get this decision letter that from the tax Supreme Court that finally that you got the certainty of the law by your tax issue in your company or your NGO or any the case that you have. So and then that this is the very, very spectacular session for the tax crime investigation. What's the matter of the tax crime? As you are a lawyer and me too, and as attorney that me too, that we must concern about the tax audit that can become tax crime investigation. Wow, how is it? How we come like that? If the taxpayer that your client or our client together that they didn't know, or maybe that they suggest or advise by the someone that want to do the tax aggressive planning, they get advice from another professional that your company or that your NGO become that someone that do bad things that impact to the Tax Crime Act in Indonesia or related with the tax treaty too. So tax treaty, we talk about the international taxation. So in the Indonesia, also that in America, and also that in other countries, is we talk about tax treaty. So Tax Crime Act investigation that we can see at the VAT or GST. VAT as the value added tax in Indonesia, and that CIT also, the for the corporate income tax, and also the transfer pricing and tax administration. What about the whole VAT, that case that can be crime investigation? So most of the case, because that we are make a confidentiality agreement with our client that we cannot put the name of our client. So we must, as a professor also in University of Indonesia, that I will share about the what about the case and how can it can be like a crime investigation. When you do transaction about the invoice, tax invoice, maybe you don't know that your tax invoice that belongs to someone that you didn't do the transaction. Such as that maybe your client that do the transaction with the group. So once the other group, that another different company that you use and issue the invoice tax to the others, not the real transaction. There's a tax crime investigation that can be your session after the tax audit session. So this is for the VAT tax crime investigation. You are so bleeding at the time, the company that very, very painful at the time, and they are very, very concerned about the how much money that your company that must pay to the country. So for the VAT, that most of the company, if your client that want to get the refund, but actually when you feel happy at the first time, hey, we will get the refund. At the middle of the tax audit, that once the government come to you and say that, hey, we will get your company go through tax crime investigation. Wow, your happiness becomes sadness at the time. You must be stressful. And the president director came to me, and the CEO, and all of the management there will come to me and said, how can it happen to our company? Why our previous tax attorney didn't let us know about the situation that we did the tax crime investigation? So the stressful can be by CEO right now, the stressful can be at the president director right now, and also to the tax authority. This has happened for all of the big four also, that they handle all for audit first, and then that they also that handle for the tax matter. So that's for the VAT tax crime investigation. And then the next one, that for the corporate income tax, what's that? For the tax evasion, that corporate income tax. Most of the corporate income tax that based on aggressive tax planning advice by another professional, such as that there is not impact that for the shifting from the matter, the account, the transaction that you must be that get the tax rate that higher rather than the lower rate. So the aggressive tax planning that impact to the advice that make you go to the tax evasion. Wow, what's that about tax evasion? Tax evasion is a versus of the tax avoidance. One, the tax avoidance is legal and tax evasion is illegal. This is the section for the lawyer too, that you can go continue to the section after that your client stipulate that you got the tax crime investigation. The next time the decision that not in the tax authority anymore, but the police section anymore. So the lawyer that must be concerned about this situation. That's for the CIT crime investigation. For the transfer pricing, this is the big issue for the multinational company. If you know about the base errors profit shifting, if you know about tax treaty, if you know about treaty shopping, that's for the transfer pricing. If you know about the Google case, that they failed, they lost, and they bleeding, they must pay to the country that is over that 5 trillion rupiah. This is a very big money. That's for the big case. So as a tax attorney, we didn't must to go to win after the section in the police department. But as a tax attorney, we must successful at the DGT first and the tax authority, and then we must facing at the tax code. The section for the police department at tax crime investigation that stipulate, yes, correct, you are as a tax criminal. That's the lawyer that must aware about the situation. It's a big money for the company. It's a big money for the corporate multinational company. So be careful about the situation. Not about that win or loss, but it's about that how big money that you must pay to the country. So this is the very concern about transfer pricing issue right now. This is a very hot issue in Indonesia and also in another country. Each country that really concerned about the regulation, especially if your mutual external client that they do transaction by the country that have the higher tax rate and they want to shift to the countries that have that lower tax rate, such as that Indonesia that shift to Singapore that the lower tax rate, that's the base errors profit shifting. So once your company gets stipulated that you do the tax crime criminal, so you have a big problem and you have a big issue for your reputation in the upcoming years. That's why that most of the multinational company that really concerned to hire the successful tax attorney. That's why that we must specific and very detailed about the transaction. So how about the tax administration crime investigation? For the tax administration crime investigation, that most of the taxpayer that they report that not all of the income they get. Sometimes they can forget, or sometimes they miss the transaction because the counterpart transaction they didn't report to them for the tax annual report or for the fiscal period for the VAT. But you can prove it to the tax authority, and the tax authority will know that you forgot or you get the aggressive tax planning. We have experience. Once we get the audit by the Big Four, because that our multinational client that they hire the Big Four as the auditor. So when the auditor, the Big Four, makes something bad at the commercial financial report, we got the letter from the tax authority that reminder that, hey, please remember, don't give advice for aggressive tax planning. As a professional that I know what the difference between tax avoidance and tax evasion. It's totally different by tax avoidance and tax evasion. How to prove it? It's easy for us that if we are expert and know people that do tax avoidance or people that do that tax evasion. Tax evasion that is illegal, that's criminal. So such as like you can duplicate your, or maybe that you have double bookkeeping. That's a criminal also, and you can do that also that you make that the transaction that not real transaction, not based on actual transaction, that's a criminal too. Or if you save your profit to the tax haven country, what for? In each country that we know that if you got the money or if you got income from the India, that you must pay tax in India. If you got income from America, you must pay tax in America. And if you got income from Indonesia, you must pay tax in Indonesia. That's a tax crime, that investigation. So once you say that, hey, but it's okay in a business transaction that we can put our money or our profit shifting to tax haven country. Yes, we know that with the your corporate that want to make something that good for your liquid company, that the money you want to keep to save your money. But please, we must aware the tax that you must to pay from the source country. Who is the country that you got the money? Which country that you got your income? Which money that from that the real base transaction? That's the tax that must be aware about the situation. Not even that you said, no, 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 we didn't do that. No, 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 we are good people. No. Based on the accountant also, my background also an accountant. So we know really deep, this is the tax avoidance or this is a tax evasion. It's so scary. Once you Google Indonesia that they fail, it's so scary because that the reputation, they must pay big money to the country. That's why you must be careful. That's why that I want to share about this situation. Once you fail, your reputation as a tax attorney also that not good in the future. Once you success, it's good for your reputation in the future. Why? Because this is very, very painful for your client, for our client, to get the big stipulation that we must pay to the country. Don't do that. It's a big no-no. It's a big no-no. If you don't expert, if you're not expert about this season, don't do that, please. Why? Your client will cry. Most of our clients came to us after they handle another tax attorney. They know they will lose, but they come to us with tears, cry, sad, stressful, painful inside. So how to get in touch with them? After that, they cry in my shoulder. We are a tax attorney, not even that we advise, but me especially, I can feel their when they are feel sad, I can feel they face the stressful, I can feel they are confused, I can feel the tears in my shoulder when they cry. They know their career will be stuck if they fail. Their career will be stopped if they choose the wrong tax attorney. When they fail, it must be sad for them, and it must be a very, very nightmare for them. They cannot sleep. They cannot travel anywhere. Why? If you stipulate as a tax crime act, you cannot go anywhere. The country will stop you. If the country will stop that your visa or your passport in the airport too. So it's a big problem. And once you got success with the tax crime investigation, your client must be happy, and after happy, they become your loyal client. That's us once we success with the tax crime investigation. So my friend, all of my new colleagues in India, so I respect you. Once we have share our discussion, what happened, that we must aware about this situation. Why? We are as a tax attorney, we are as attorney or as a lawyer, we help people, not only for the money, but we help people to support them to get the fair, that they feel enjoy the life, also they not stressful anymore, and also that we support government to make it better for the regulation. After the situation that we know deeply, the regulation that didn't meet with business anymore, such as AI, such as that we have a digital transaction, we can advise the government also. That's my experience as a tax attorney. So that's why that we give support also to the government and to the multinational company. We change the system also that meet to the headquarters to make the system that comply to the regulation, not only for Indonesia, also that the country that they connect for the transactions, like in America, like in Europe, like in Indonesia, like in India, like in Singapore. So they're happy. Why? Because we know very concerned about the situation. The company, our client must pay big money, and they will concern to know which attorney or which lawyer that we must hire that success the tax matter. So once you go to the tax court, please be careful. In Indonesia, we are open to you. Lawyer can go and continue to the tax court. Before, 2-3 years ago, lawyer cannot go to the tax court. But we open it everything. Yeah, Me also. I am also that open and welcome to all of you, the lawyer. But please concern, remember, if you're not expert, don't do that. Why? Your client will cry. That's my experience. There is in my shoulder. I cannot give them hug because that I'm a professional. But when I know, and I can see their tears, I can see they cry in front of me, they're stressful, they cannot talk anymore. I know it's very stressful. So when I see them with the condition, that's my responsibility to go to the detail, to win their case, to make them successful. And then they are very happy. We need 8 months to win the situation. But 8 months from us must be happy, but 8 months for them, they cannot travel everywhere. They cannot meet with the family because of what? Because they must stop in the country after they finish the tax crime investigation. We win based on the detail and also that we know how to win the situation. To all of my friends and the Big Four, please be careful about this situation. Why? When your client come to us, it's not about the competition, but they concern about who the successful tax attorney that make them feel free. We have the same case, the tax same case at that time. So the Big Four, they fell, they lost, the company lost big money at that time, but we win. And after that one, they know, they really know, tax issue not only about the competition, tax issue about the moral, tax issue about the psychology, tax issue that about that how you help people, how you welcome people to say, hello, how are you today? Are you good? No. If you have the big case, the big tax case, you cannot smile anymore. Cannot. I can see it in your face. I can see you're happy and or sad. That's why that the tax attorney or a lawyer also, you are not only for advisor. You are not only of their hero, but you are also their angel. That's why that we call the angel come when the sadness change become happiness. Your tears become big smile. That's us for tax attorney, that success with our multinational client by the tax crime investigation. There's a big tax case in the world, so my Nicolets, my friend, please be careful, please be aware. Once you sign the contract, remember, as your boyfriend, I remind you, please don't sign the contract if you're not expert in the situation. Your client feels sad when you lose. The tears in my shoulder, it remind me that we must be expert. We must know how to help them. You must know how to support them. And also that we will be advised to the government to change the new regulation to be the better regulation also. That's from us. That's from the MRS Business Professional Consulting that we have a multinational client. We connect also to all of the Big Four also, so that be open to us. We can discuss about every tax case that you want to know. Send us email. Let's connect. And I can see that the people that want to meet me and they want to talk to me, thank you to come to our booth, that our team report me that, ma'am, a lot of people that want to meet you in person, okay, after my session that we can meet, and also that we have a cocktail session also that we can share, send me email, that we have that email here. Why we put the bold email here, that a lot of the hacker that come to our business email. So please come to my private email, monica.sijabat@gmail.com. That's very safe for us to talk about that, very confidentiality. So we cannot publish that the client name, because that we have the pack integrity and also the confidentiality. I hope that you understand about the situation. But by the request for the magazine and the podcast also, that we will make it very confidentiality by the text case, that real case. Okay, you got it? So that's us. Thank you. If you have any question, I can see that. Oh, okay. Thank you. How many questions?
Can we have the mic, please?
We have one in front, the lady, the pretty lady.
This side.
All the women, the pretty lady as an attorney and lawyer. I know that it's not easy for us to become Cinderella when we have a stressful, but we must become a Cinderella, must pretty when we face a public. Yeah, I know how hard that you must fight every day. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you for your case study. My question is, how would you describe treaty shopping? Is it like legal or illegal? How would you put like under tax evasion or tax avoidance? Or maybe tax planning?
Okay. Can I answer now? Okay. Sure. 3D shopping. This is a very, very popular in every multinational country. 3D shopping that we can describe that once your client have another country that have a lower tax rate, they will go to the country that get the lower tax rate. That's for the treaty shopping. That not all the transaction based on the income tax law that can use the treaty administration. We can say that COD or COR. COD, certificate of domicile. COR, certificate of residence. Certificate of domicile, that's for the company. Certificate of residence, that for the individual, for the person. So not all of the individual or the company that can get the tax treaty substance. Why? There is a requirement that in the tax treaty, such as India and America, such as India and Indonesia, that you must comply with that, with the regulation. Once you didn't meet with the requirements, you cannot do that. You cannot have. So then, when they do treaty shopping with the tax lower rate, they will fail to use the lower tax rate by the tax treaty. So, such as that for the foreign tax income in Indonesia, the tax rate is 20%. But if you can meet with the requirement of the tax treaty, you just pay for the 10% tax rate only. That's for the tax treaty. So, how to describe it? How to make it well? So, let's go to the tax planning. Let's go to the tax avoidance. Please be aware about the tax evasion, especially that if you collaborate with the Big Four. Please remind them, because why? After the tax authority, the government that can see that potential indicate for the crime investigation tax, they will notice who is the person that give advice for the aggressive tax planning that indicate for the tax evasion. Be aware, tax avoidance different with tax evasion. Maybe that lawyer that need to learn about it together with us, we'll be happy to share with you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you for the insightful presentation on the topic. Let's have a huge round of applause for Ms. Monica Romelina. Thank you, ma'am.